The man was clearly one of the world's few remaining 7th-level golden core experts, yet he was trapped in this land for a full 10 years, unable to leave the mountain. It was because back then, on his way to his girlfriend's house to propose, he encountered a mysterious old man. The man said he was a natural spiritual body, a good prospect for cultivation. Then, disregarding the man's objections, he forcibly brought him to this deserted and remote mountain. For 10 years, the old man subjected him to the world's most rigorous training. At 7 a.m., he practiced boxing. At 12 p.m., he practiced alchemy. At 6 p.m., he practiced formation arts. After midnight, he would begin breathing exercises day after day, year after year. In these 10 years, he tried to escape countless times. But each time he was easily caught by the old man and given a harsh beating. Although cultivating immortality was a great opportunity, Lin Fan didn't care at all. His girlfriend was waiting for him to propose. He also had elderly parents at home and a young sister. They were all waiting for him to earn money to support the family. Even when Lin Fan knelt and begged, wanting to send a message home to say he was safe, the old man did not agree. Instead, he gave him a harsh beating and coldly said, "Cultivation is a path against the heavens. You must sever all worldly ties." Until this day, the old man's life force was depleted, and he was on the verge of death. But Lin Fan did not feel the happiness he had imagined. All he felt was an empty numbness. Without a word, he silently buried the old man. After this parting, they would never meet again. He summoned his long sword, and his entire body turned into a streak of light, disappearing into the sky. If any cultivator were here at this moment, they would be absolutely shocked. It was unimaginable that in this Dharma-ending age, someone could actually fly with a sword. After flying for half an hour, Lin Fan finally returned to his hometown in his memory, the outskirts of Jinling City in Jiangnan Province. I disappeared without a trace for these 10 years. Mom and Dad probably think I'm dead. And my sister? She was only 9 when I left. I wonder if she's gone to college yet. Just then, a terrified cry suddenly came from inside the bungalow. I was wrong. I don't want the demolition compensation anymore. Hearing this terrified voice, Lin Fan's expression changed drastically. Is that Xiao's voice? Meanwhile, inside the bungalow, 2 bald men with dragon tattoos on their bodies were cornering a girl, their faces showing sinister smiles. What a beauty! I didn't expect this holdout to be so beautiful. What a treat for us brothers. Sob, let me go. Lin Yunyao pleaded bitterly. Her delicate face was slapped red, and blood trickled from the corner of her mouth. In Lin Yunyao's eyes, crystal-clear tears fell one after another. At this moment, she thought about her experiences over the years. She couldn't afford to buy clothes. She got into college but had no money to attend. She even had to be frugal with food. During New Year's, others had family reunions, with tables full of fish and meat. But she could only curl up alone on the bed in the bungalow, praying for the cold night to pass quickly. Finally, her home was to be demolished. But the demolition company, bullying her because she was just a girl, offered an extremely low compensation. She disagreed. And as a result, these 2 thugs showed up. She really didn't know. She had clearly tried so hard to live a good life. Why wouldn't God just let her be? Perhaps 8 years ago, when her parents passed away, she should have left this world with them. That way, she wouldn't be so tired. Thinking this, Lin Yunyao felt her heart ache with fatigue. Utterly hopeless, she fainted directly. Seeing Lin Yunyao faint from fear, the 2 bald men laughed even more wildly. At that moment, the door to the bungalow was kicked open. Lin Fan rushed in like a flash of lightning. When he saw the scene before him, his eyes instantly widened in fury. Die! He slapped from a distance. The 2 thugs didn't even have time to react to what was happening. They were slapped into a bloody mess. Xiao Yao! Lin Fan tightly held his fainted sister in his arms, sobbing uncontrollably. Lin Yuniao slowly opened her eyes. When she saw Lin Fan, she immediately scrambled up in shock. Who are you? Where are those two men? I beat them and they ran away. Lin Fan didn't say that he had killed them. After all, his sister was just an ordinary person. Hearing such things would inevitably frighten her. I'm your brother. Lin Fan forced a smile. Brother? Lin Yuniao was stunned for a moment. Then, the face from the depths of her memory, and the face before her, gradually merged. At the corner of her eyes, tears were clearly welling up. You're mistaken. I don't have a brother. Xiao Yao. Lin Fan was stunned, unable to believe his sister would say such a thing. Don't call me Xiao Yao. You weren't here when Mom and Dad passed away. Now that the house is about to be demolished, you just happened to come back. Lin Fan, I really don't want to think badly of you, but you are truly disappointing. Lin Fan's heart trembled. He quickly asked, weren't Mom and Dad's health fine? Back then, you left and never returned. Mom and Dad spent all our savings looking for you. They ended up getting hit by a car on the road and just passed away. Lin Yunyo's voice was clearly tinged with a sob. After wandering outside for 10 years, how did you end up like this? Could it be that you were abandoned by that Chininua? Now that you have nowhere to go, you thought of coming back? You're really not a good person. Lin Fan felt as if he had been struck by lightning, frozen on the spot, as his sister pushed him out the door and slammed it shut with a bang. The beautiful scene of a family reunion he had imagined did not happen. Instead, it was so desolate. Lin Fan let out a breath and slowly explained, Xiao Yao. I went to cultivate immortality back then. I was locked up in a place for 10 years. I was only able to get out today. But there was no reaction from inside the bungalow. Lin Fan found a flat spot in front of the door and sat down cross-legged. Since Mom and Dad have passed, now, taking care of my sister is as important as seeking immortality. As for Inua, Lin Fan sighed again. Chin Inua was his girlfriend back then. They had been together for 7 years. 3 years in high school, and 4 years in college. Although they were in love, they were ultimately fated to be apart. 10 years have passed. Chin Inua would be 32 now. Her child is probably old enough to run errands. Lin Fan stopped thinking about it and began to sit cross-legged and meditate, practicing his breathing exercises. The breathing technique he practiced was called the 9 Heavens Immortal Consummation Technique. According to the old man, this was a supreme immortal technique, which he had risked his life to obtain from an ancient ruin. Unfortunately, this technique could not be practiced by ordinary people. Only those with a natural spiritual body could cultivate it. That was why the old man was so excited when he first saw Lin Fan. And now, Lin Fan could also guess why the old man had been so harsh and merciless to him. The old man was brilliant and talented, achieving the Tribulation Transcendence realm in the Dharma Ending Age. Unfortunately, he was ultimately no match for the limitations of this world. When his life was about to end, he still hadn't achieved immortality. Achieving immortality was the old man's lifelong obsession. So, in the last 10 years of his life, he found Lin Fan and taught him everything he knew, hoping that he could break the shackles of the world in his place and break the curse of not being able to become an immortal after breaking through. And under the old man's demonic training, Lin Fan was also extremely hardworking. In just 10 years, he became a peak golden core stage cultivator. A night passed in a flash. The door of the bungalow opened. Lin Yunyao walked out with a basin of clothes, preparing to wash them in the small pond in front of the door. Lin Fan immediately went to his sister's side. Xiao Yao. Washing clothes, huh? Let your brother help you. Lin Fan directly snatched the basin and walked towards the pond. But as soon as he squatted down, he noticed something was wrong. Because inside the basin were all women's personal undergarments. To wash or not to wash? Lin Fan was truly in a difficult position. After all, there should be a distinction between men and women. Besides, for him to rub these clothes with his hands was really not appropriate. But then again, looking at this underwear that was washed until it was faded, Lin Fan felt a bit sad. His sister's things. He didn't know how many years she had been wearing them. What's wrong? Even someone like you can be embarrassed? Lin Yuniao stood on the riverbank and said coldly, "These clothes are too old. Brother will buy you new ones later." Lin Fan said softly while washing the clothes. "Stop pretending." Lin Yuniao turned and walked into the house. After washing the clothes, Lin Fan planned to go out and earn some money. But just then, at the gate, on the dilapidated gravel road, a pink Wuling Mini drove up. A flamboyantly dressed girl got out of the car. Her name was Li Xiaoka, Lin Yunyao's high school classmate. She must be Xiao Yao's friend. With her here, Xiao Yao's mood should stabilize a lot. Lin Fan stood outside the door, muttering to himself. Actually, it didn't matter if he went inside or not. With his hearing, any sound inside the house, he could hear clearly. The small room only had a shabby bed and a table piled high with books. The two girls sat on the bed, whispering softly to each other. Little did they know that their words were all heard by Lin Fan in the corner. "Xiao Yao, who is that pervert? Unshaven, I don't know him. Maybe a scavenger who came here to take a dump." Lin Fan in the corner was dumbfounded. "It's been a month since school started. The counselor asked me when you are going to register. If you don't go soon, the school will consider it as you dropping out voluntarily. You can apply for a student loan for the tuition. No matter what, getting into Jinling University is not easy. Are you really going to give up like this?" Li Xiaoka said quickly. "I don't want to give up either. But my student loan application was not approved. The poverty certificate materials couldn't pass the review." Lin Yuniao gave a bitter smile. "Is it because of the demolition? They want to force you to sell your land cheaply." Li Xiao's intuition was sharp, and she asked in a low voice. Lin Yuniao nodded silently. "Besides, going to college isn't necessarily a good thing. I plan to go out and work, see the world. That's also good." Seeing this, Li Xiaoka gritted her teeth in anger. "Damn these bastards. They only know how to bully a girl like you." At that moment, the door was forcibly pushed open from the outside. Lin Fan strode in. "No. Xiao Yao, you have to go to school for me. Don't worry about the money. I'll take care of it." Lin Fan's face was so dark it could drip water. The sister of a mighty golden core cultivator actually has no money for school? And the poverty certificate materials. Who is blocking my sister? Are you crazy? Trespassing is illegal. Li Xiaoka pulled Lin Yuniao behind her. "I'm Xiao Yao's brother." Lin Fan replied calmly. Li Xiaoka was suspicious, and then turned to Lin Yuniao with a questioning look. "Didn't you just say this person was a scavenger who came to take a dump? My brother died 10 years ago. This is probably some lunatic." Lin Yuniao replied with a blank expression. Lin Fan let out a long breath. "I'm going out now to earn money for tuition. I should be back before dark. Please help me take care of Xiao Yao. I'm afraid she might do something foolish." After speaking, Lin Fan turned and left, quickly disappearing from the two girls' sight. This scene really stunned Li Xiaoka. She was completely dumbfounded. The tuition for Jinling University is over 5,000 a year. A man whose clothes are so worn that he can't bear to replace them. Can he earn over 5,000 in a few hours? It seems he really is a lunatic. After leaving home, Lin Fan ran directly to the downtown area of Jinling City. If he flew, he could reach it in a minute. But Jinling City's downtown area is crowded, so he chose not to fly. As for making money, for Lin Fan, there were too many ways to make money. Alchemy, divination, making talismans, treating illnesses, reading feng shui, he could do it all. He could make a fortune with any of these skills. After a brief thought, he came to a market in the north of the city. They sold everything here, from daily necessities, folk remedies, to gold, silver, jewelry, antiques, and jade. He could even see a few Taoist priests offering services like fortune-telling, exorcism, and geomancy. Lin Fan found an empty spot and sat down cross-legged. Then he took out a red brick and wrote a line of words on the ground in front of him. Rent myself for 2 hours. Can do anything, know everything. Price negotiable. The market was bustling with people. Many passers-by came over to take a look, just for the spectacle. But no one came forward to inquire, because what he wrote was too exaggerated. Can do anything, know everything. Do you think you're a god? Some people came up with a teasing attitude, deliberately asking some very strange questions. Can you make it 5 centimeters longer? For these people who were obviously just teasing, Lin Fan naturally ignored them. Meanwhile, in a black Hummer parked on the street, a group of big men were looking through the window, carefully observing Lin Fan. One of the big men spoke in a low voice to the middle-aged man in the back seat. Boss, this person is too young. He looks like a braggart. We should go look elsewhere. If we don't find a solution soon, something bad might happen at the construction site. But a master who can exorcise ghosts is not so easy to find. The middle-aged man sighed. His name was Wang Chong, and he was the chairman of a large construction group in Jinling City. Lately, at a construction site under his company, some very strange things have been happening. The workers often hear a child crying in the middle of the night. When they go out to look, there is nothing. And when the workers return to their dorms, the crying outside starts again. Just last night, a worker went out to the toilet and said he saw a weasel smiling at him, asking, "Young man, do I look like a human or an immortal?" The worker had never seen such a strange thing. He didn't dare to answer. He just ran back to the dormitory. As a result, as soon as he returned to the dormitory, he fell seriously ill. The hospital couldn't find anything wrong with him. He is still lying in the hospital now. This made Wang Chong extremely frustrated. He personally brought people to the Jiangning department store trading market to look for a master. He did indeed find a few masters who looked very powerful, but they were all useless. Wang Chong couldn't help but rub his temples, looking tired. The project was worth over 2 billion, and he could make 1 billion from it. If this wasn't resolved, it would be a huge loss. With Lin Fan's hearing, he naturally had already heard the conversation in the Hummer. This gave him an idea. He immediately shouted, "Omnipotent, omniscient, especially skilled in exorcising demons and subduing monsters. If your family has such problems, come to me without worry." After shouting, Lin Fan packed up and pretended to be leaving. And just then, a middle-aged man rushed out of the Hummer. "Young brother, wait." He took the bait. Lin Fan smiled slightly, stopped, and sized up the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man had a square face, and his forehead was dark. In other words, his yin tang was dark. Ordinary people couldn't see this darkness. Only someone like him, who had opened his spiritual eye, could see it at a glance. Wang Chong told him about what was happening at the construction site. After hearing it, Lin Fan already had a general idea. Although this was the Dharma-ending age, there was still spiritual energy in the world. With spiritual energy, mountain spirits, ghosts, and the like would naturally be born. And what the worker encountered should be the so-called weasel asking for a title. Wang Chong's face was cold. "Young brother, if you can help me solve this, I'll give you 20,000 yuan. How about it?" "Boss Wang, this matter is very troublesome. To be honest, if this matter isn't resolved quickly, not only your construction site, but even you yourself will be in trouble. Have you been sleeping very restlessly these past few nights?" When Wang Chong heard this, his heart skipped a beat. That construction site has been shut down for many days, losing hundreds of thousands a day. And for the past few nights, he always felt like when he was sleeping at night, a pair of eyes were staring at him. But when he turned on the light, he couldn't see anything. This feeling made him very scared. Now, hearing Lin Fan's words, he was instantly shocked. Could this stoic-faced man really be a master? "Young brother, what do you mean?" "What I mean is, you need to add more money. 100,000 yuan, and I guarantee I'll solve it for you." Wang Chong narrowed his eyes. "Young brother, if you can solve it, money is not a problem. But if you dare to trick me, Crushing someone like you is as easy as crushing an ant for me. Don't worry, I won't trick you. Of course, even if I did, you couldn't do anything to me. Lin Fan knew that Wang Cheng was not simple, but that was only to ordinary people. To him, he was nothing. Then Lin Fan spent the few yuan he had to buy the cheapest ink, paper, and brush at the market. Then he casually wrote a few words on the paper with the brush and handed it to Wang Cheng. When you go back, hang this paper at the gate of the construction site. Remember to take precautions against rain and theft. Don't let it get damaged. Hang it up for a period of time, and it will be fine. Lin Fan said indifferently. This was not an ordinary piece of paper. It had a talisman written on it with spiritual energy as ink. As long as that weasel wasn't stupid, it would definitely leave when it saw this talisman. Wang Cheng glanced at the paper in his hand, his face dark. Didn't you just say it was very troublesome? And in the end, it's just a piece of white paper with a few scribbles on it. And you want 100,000 from me? He seriously suspected he had been scammed. Fine, I'll trust you this once. If you dare to trick me, I guarantee your whole family will be buried with you. As soon as he said this, the temperature in the area seemed to drop to 0 in an instant. Say what you just said again. Lin Fan stared at Wang Cheng with a blank expression. Faced with Lin Fan's piercing gaze, Wang Cheng instantly got goosebumps all over his body. He felt as if he could die at any moment. Young brother, calm down first, Wang Cheng said nervously. He didn't know why he was so scared, but his intuition told him he had to submit. Otherwise, the consequences would be severe. This intuition had saved him countless times. Some things can be said, some things cannot. Understand? Lin Fan said with a cold expression. Give me the money. 100,000 yuan, full payment. No IOUs. Hearing this, Wang Cheng let out a breath and gestured to the Hummer not far away. Immediately, 2 men in black suits walked over quickly with a suitcase. After opening the suitcase, it was a case full of 100 yuan bills, probably about 5 or 600,000. Wang Cheng took out 100,000 and handed it to Lin Fan. Watching him leave, Wang Cheng's eyes flickered. This young man gave him a very dangerous feeling. Thinking of this, Wang Cheng instructed one of his men. Xiao Long, you follow him and find out where he lives and who is in his family. I want to see who this person is. Yes, boss. The man named Xiao Long nodded and quickly and carefully followed him. After leaving the Jiangning department store trading market, Lin Fan went straight to a nearby commercial street. He had said in the morning that he would buy his sister some new underwear. He also had to buy 2 phones. Then he went to the supermarket and bought a lot of snacks, meat, eggs, and vegetables. Calculating the price, all these things cost over 40,000 yuan. After 10 years, prices have risen sharply. It must be hard for ordinary people. Lin Fan sighed. Just then, he noticed that Xiao Long was still following him. Lin Fan smiled slightly, walked to a deserted corner, and flew straight up into the sky, disappearing into the horizon. When Xiao Long saw this, he quickly rubbed his eyes, thinking he was seeing things. Only when he realized that Lin Fan was really gone, did he sit on the ground and quickly took out his phone to call Wang Cheng. In a large construction site, Wang Cheng put down his phone, his expression changing constantly. How could someone fly in this world? This is pure nonsense. At that moment, a man in a red hat, the site manager, walked over. He looked at the white paper hanging on the gate with great suspicion. He said, "Boss, can this piece of paper really exorcise spirits? It looks like what my first-grade son would draw. Not much different. It has to work even if it doesn't. What else can we do?" Wang Cheng replied coldly. But just as he turned around, a dull thud came from behind him, like a clap of thunder. Wang Cheng turned around in horror. He saw that the unremarkable white paper hanging on the gate was now emitting a purple light, and under that white paper was a charred black small animal carcass. It was a weasel. The site manager was stunned, his mouth wide open, unable to say a word. A bolt of lightning struck down from the white paper, killing an old weasel. Wang Chong, on the other hand, was ecstatic. He knew he had truly met a master. Meanwhile, about 8 or 9 kilometers away from the construction site, in a cave, a white-haired old man suddenly spat out a large mouthful of blood. Who dared to touch my? The old weasel wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, his face ferocious. He quickly ran towards the construction site. He covered a distance of dozens of kilometers in just a minute. To avoid trouble, Lin Fan landed about 300 or 400 meters from his house, then carried the large and small bags of things, and walked slowly towards home. But after a few steps, he discovered that from the direction of his house, he could hear the roar of engines. It was the sound of an excavator. Lin Fan's expression changed slightly. It wasn't hard to guess that the demolition matter was not as simple as he had imagined. This meant that someone had likely come to forcefully demolish the house, and his sister and Li Xiaoke were still at home. At this moment, Lin Fan's expression was terrifyingly cold. The killing intent emanating from his body almost made the sky in this area darken. Meanwhile, in front of the dilapidated small bungalow, 2 yellow excavators were parked. More than 10 burly men stood by the excavators, looking at the 2 young girls, blocking their way with playful expressions, muttering all sorts of obscenities. So young and beautiful, full of collagen. These 2 girls are not bad. Lin Yuniao and Li Xiaoke were so angry their faces turned red. But there was nothing they could do. The demolition price has not been negotiated yet. This is a forced demolition. It's illegal. I've already called the police, Li Xiaoke said through gritted teeth. Oh, the police. I'm so scared. You're scaring us. A few of the men, hearing this, had playful smiles on their faces. The mockery in their eyes was obvious to anyone. Xiaoke, it's useless for you to be here. It will only get you into trouble. Lin Yuniao smiled bitterly. These people clearly came prepared. They must have bribed the authorities. But she never thought that something she had only seen in the news, a forced demolition incident, she would one day experience for real. Looking at the time, the middle-aged man in the lead was clearly running out of patience. A few of you, take these 2 girls and move them to the side. If they dare to resist, beat them. Yes, Brother Ji. Immediately, 2 thugs stepped forward, their faces showing wicked smiles as they approached Lin Yuniao and Li Xiaoke. As they walked, they kept rubbing their hands with a grin. After all, during the process of carrying them, a little pinching, rubbing, and groping is normal, right? Seeing this, Lin Yuniao felt a chill run down her spine. How she wished a hero would come and save her at this moment. For some reason, the image of Lin Fan suddenly appeared in her mind. If her brother was here, would he stand up and save her? Probably not. This time, there were so many of them. Even if her brother was here, he would probably be scared and stand aside. Besides, her brother was not a good person either. If he were a good person, why would he have left home for 10 years for a woman? Seeing the perverted men getting closer, Lin Yuniao picked up a brick from the ground and held it tightly. Even if she had to die, she would defend her pitifully small dignity. But just then, you 2, take 1 more step forward, and you die. An extremely cold voice reached everyone's ears. An extremely cold voice reached everyone's ears. The voice was bone-chillingly cold, making everyone's goosebumps stand on end. Everyone turned around in shock and fear, and saw that the person who had arrived was an unshaven, melancholy-looking young man. Brother! Lin Yunyo's eyes were dazed. When Brother Ji and his men saw this, they all let out strange, cackling laughs. Look at you, you useless bum. You want to be a hero and save the beauty? But in the next moment, the necks of the 2 thugs were, at the same time, grabbed by Lin Fan's left and right hands, and easily lifted up. Seeing this, everyone present had their pupils shrink. These were 2 big men weighing 170 or 80 pounds. and he lifted them up with one hand each. How much strength did that take? Lin Fan casually tossed them, and the two thugs were thrown more than 10 meters away, finally landing heavily on the ground, motionless, their life or death unknown. Brother Jis' eyes narrowed. Kid, who the hell are you? How dare you interfere in the affairs of my Sankotang? Sankotang. Lin Fan's mind searched for information about this organization, but found that he had never heard of it. However, Li Xiaoke behind him, upon hearing these 3 words, instantly turned pale. You are from Sankotang? Lin Yuniao felt a bit worried. Is Sankotang very powerful? Li Xiaoke took a deep breath. It's said that our student council president, Tan Ziming, is the son of one of the leaders of Sankotang, and that Tan Ziming is unfathomable. Almost no one dares to mess with him. Even the school leaders, when they see Tan Ziming, have to bow their heads and say, Young Master Tan. Hearing this, Lin Yuniao instinctively covered her mouth. The son of a leader is so powerful? Then how terrifying must the entire Sankotang be? You beat my 2 men so badly. If you don't give me 100 or 80,000, this isn't over today. Indeed, it's not over. You dared to bully my sister. There is only one ending for you. Lin Fan said calmly. Then, without any hesitation, he stomped his foot hard on the ground. His whole body shot out like an arrow from a bow, rushing towards Brother Ji and the others. In fact, with his strength, he only needed to wave his hand to easily wipe out this group of people. But that would be a bit too shocking. Lin Fan didn't want to scare his sister and her best friend. Brother Ji snorted coldly and waved his hand. The group of thugs behind him all drew their steel knives and rushed forward with sinister smiles. A total of 8 burly men, all with steel knives. 8 against 1, it seemed like an easy win. But in the next moment, in just 10 seconds, the 8 ferocious-looking burly men were all knocked to the ground by Lin Fan. Who knows how many of their bones were broken? It was a horrifying sight. Li Xiaoke was deeply shocked by the scene. Are you sure this isn't a movie? But just then, she saw the driver in the excavator, controlling the excavator's bucket, swinging it towards Lin Fan. Seeing this, a hint of excitement flashed in Brother Jis' eyes. Aren't you tough? Let's see if you're tougher than an excavator. However, Lin Fan calmly stretched out a hand. That slender, jade-like hand instantly collided with the excavator's bucket. A loud bang erupted. And then, the excavator bucket, which could crush concrete blocks, was stopped in midair. No matter how the excavator's engine roared, no matter how much smoke it emitted, the bucket did not move at all. Seeing this, the excavator driver and Brother Ji swallowed hard. Is this something a human can do? The driver had never seen such a thing. He was so scared he started to cry. He wanted to run, but found that his legs were trembling, and he couldn't move at all. Don't cry, I'll send you home. Lin Fan picked up a small stone from the ground and flicked it lightly at the driver. The glass of the driver's cabin instantly shattered. The driver frantically touched his body, but found that he was fine. Little did he know, his life meridian had been shattered by that stone from Lin Fan. Death was only a matter of time. And, because his life meridian was shattered, his blood supply would be cut off, and he would die in an extremely painful state. And the reason he did this was naturally because Lin Fan didn't want to kill in front of his sister yet. Lin Fan then kicked Brother Ji flying, sending him 4 or 5 meters away. Take your men and get out of my sight. Yes, yes, yes. Brother Ji didn't expect him to be let go so easily. He was overjoyed. He struggled to get up, wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and ran away. Lin Fan watched this scene coldly. These people's life meridians were already broken. They would all die in a short time. Besides that, he also left a mark on Brother Ji. No matter where Brother Ji went, he could find him. A family should be together. He not only wanted the lives of Brother Ji and his men, but also the person behind them. And even that so-called Sankotang had to die. Thinking of this, Lin Fan let out a breath and looked at his sister, forcing a smile. Xiao Yao, are you okay? Lin Yuniao looked at her brother with a complicated expression, not answering for a moment. But Li Xiaoke next to her came forward, looking at Lin Fan with admiration. I didn't expect you to be so strong. You really can't judge a book by its cover. Then, Lin Fan picked up all the things he bought in the afternoon. Xiao Yao, I bought you a lot of things this afternoon. See if you like them. Lin Yuniao hesitated for a moment, but still reached out and took them. Let me see what you bought. Li Xiaoke quickly opened the bag and started rummaging through it. Wow! So much underwear. It's all Victoria's Secret. Is it a famous brand? It must have cost a lot. Xiao Yao, your brother is so good to you. And so many snacks. Chicken feet, potato chips, spicy strips. Lin Yuniao glanced at Lin Fan without speaking. She found that her brother seemed to be the same as she remembered. Very, very good to her. Not as bad as she had imagined. Maybe something really did happen back then. So she decided to have a good talk with her brother later. By the way, Xiao Yao, I also bought you a phone, Lin Fan said, and quickly took out the phone from his pocket, handing it to Lin Yuniao. Wow, it's a Longwei P70. This is the latest model. It costs nearly 10,000 yuan. Li Xiaoke exclaimed again. So envious she didn't know what to say. Where did you get so much money? Lin Yuniao looked at the phone and frowned, asking. After all, her brother's clothes didn't look like he was rich. If he stole or robbed it, she would never accept it. Lin Fan thought for a moment and said, I went to the city this afternoon and met a kind person. He saw that I was pitiful and gave me 100,000. As soon as he said this, both Li Xiaoke and Lin Yuniao looked serious. Could such a good thing happen in the world? But seeing Lin Fan's serious face, the two girls actually believed it. Where is this kind person? I want to meet him too, Li Xiaoke said excitedly. Just then, Lin Fan seemed to sense something and looked to the east. In his deep eyes, a hint of imperceptible killing intent flashed. Uncle, what's wrong? Li Xiaoke noticed something was wrong and asked curiously. It's nothing. I just remembered I have something to do. You guys go ahead and make dinner. I'll be back later. We'll have a good gathering tonight. Lin Fan replied with a smile. After speaking, he found a deserted corner, flew up, and flew east at high speed. Meanwhile, in the eastern suburbs of Jinling City, there was a magnificent villa. On the sofa in the villa's living room, a middle-aged man was playing cards. Not good, brother Hu, not good. At that moment, Brother Ji rushed in looking disheveled. His words rushed and panicked, utterly terrified. What's the matter? Why are you so flustered? Brother Hu slowly sat down on the sofa and asked indifferently. But when Brother Ji recounted how Lin Fan had blocked the excavator with his bare hands, Brother Hu said coldly, Do you think him a fool? An excavator can even crush concrete. Can a human body block an excavator? He would be a fool to believe such nonsense. Just then, the door of the villa was kicked open from the outside. Then, Lin Fan walked in calmly. Brother Hu. It's him. When Brother Ji saw that Lin Fan had followed him, his expression instantly lit up with joy. Brother Hu sat on the sofa, casually looking at the man who walked in. He waved his hand. 50 or 60 bodyguards in black rushed out from all directions and surrounded Lin Fan. Go get an excavator. I want to see this person block an excavator with his bare hands. Before Lin Fan could reply, Brother Hu waved his hand again. Yes, Brother Hu. A bodyguard in black glanced at Lin Fan disdainfully and prepared to go out and get the excavator. But he had just taken a step when he was slapped flying by Lin Fan. He slammed heavily on the ground, deader than dead. This sudden scene instantly quieted the room. Everyone's pupils shrank. They never thought Lin Fan would be so arrogant, daring to kill even when surrounded. Where is the headquarters of your Sankatang? Lin Fan asked. Brother Hu stood up. Im Zheng Tianhu from the third hall. But he still didn't understand. This guy came here alone. Did he really think he could beat his 50 or 60 men? Do you have a grudge against our Sankatang? I'm asking you where the headquarters of Sankatang is. Lin Fan asked again calmly. Damn it, what a show-off. Get this kid. Zhang Tianhu sneered. Dozens of bodyguards immediately surrounded him, fierce and menacing, looking at Lin Fan with a sinister smile, as if looking at a clown. Lin Fan's expression was indifferent. He formed a supreme sword art with his hand, and a 3-foot-long sword appeared out of thin air in his hand. Without his sister and Li Xiaoke around, he naturally had no inhibitions. Magic? Brother Hu was a little surprised. But in the next moment, his eyes widened. He saw. Lin Fan just gently waved the long sword in his hand. An invisible sword energy spread out. The dozens of bodyguards who surrounded him were all instantly killed on the spot. The once magnificent villa had now turned into a scene from hell. He killed over 50 people with just one sword strike. How is this possible? Brother Hu looked at Lin Fan, trembling, as if looking at a demon. I'll ask you one more time. Where is the headquarters of Sankatang? Lin Fan asked with a blank expression. I don't know, Brother Hu said with a trembling voice. Then he fell to his knees with a thud and kept begging for mercy. He suspected that the young man in front of him was not human, but a god from the heavens. Lin Fan ignored Brother Hu's pleas for mercy, stepped forward, and placed his hand on Brother Hu's forehead. Mind-reading technique. This secret technique could forcefully search a person's memories, but the side effects were severe. The person being searched would become a complete idiot afterwards. Soon, Brother Hu's eyes turned white. He foamed at the mouth and fainted. He didn't expect that. He didn't even know where the headquarters of Sankatang was. This organization was very mysterious. Orders were passed down layer by layer. The lower-level members were just doing their jobs. They didn't know anything. Situ Hao. Lin Fan muttered to himself. This Situ Hao was Zhang Tian, his superior. Perhaps by finding Situ Hao, he could completely eliminate Sankatang. After walking out of the villa, Lin Fan's right hand gently waved at the villa. A terrifying force poured out from his palm. Bang! The entire villa collapsed, turning into a pile of rubble. All the corpses and bones were buried under the ground. The entire demolition area was pitch black. Only the small bungalow flickered with a bright light. The killing intent on Lin Fan's body vanished in an instant. A hint of gentleness flashed in his eyes. He pushed open the door and returned home, finding his sister and Li Xiaoke covered in soot, making dinner. 3 dishes and a soup, braised cushion carp, braised black pork ribs, stir-fried green vegetables, and seaweed egg soup. Very common home-cooked dishes. But Lin Fan hadn't eaten them in 10 years. Lin Fan put the burnt pork ribs in his mouth and chewed them carefully. It's quite delicious. Li Xiaoke heard this and looked doubtful. She knew her own cooking skills. She knew in her heart, the burnt pork ribs she made must taste terrible. It really is delicious. I'm not lying. Lin Fan took several more pieces of pork ribs and ate them. Seeing this, Li Xiaoke and Lin Yunyao exchanged a glance. Then they both picked up a piece of pork rib. But after just one bite, they couldn't help but spit it out. Pa, you liar. It's so disgusting. What did you eat before? Li Xiaoke was furious. She thought Lin Fan had tricked her. Lin Fan thought for a moment and replied, as long as it's edible. I eat anything. Lin Yunyao heard this, and her heart trembled. Her eyes gradually turned red. But she didn't say anything. Instead, she lowered her head and ate the rice in her bowl. Li Xiaoke seemed to feel that the atmosphere was a bit off, so she didn't say anything either. At around 8 p.m., Li Xiaoke said goodbye with a smile and left in her little pink car. The brother and sister were left alone in the dilapidated bungalow. Lin Fan took the initiative to take the bowls and chopsticks to the kitchen to wash them, but found that his sister was staring at him. He thought of last night's scene and sighed. But he still had a smile on his face. Don't worry. I'll wash the dishes and go out later. I won't stay the night without your permission. This is your home too. You don't have to go out. Lin Yunyao shook her head. Lin Fan, I think we need to have a good talk. 10 years ago, you said you were going to find your girlfriend. And then you never came back. What have you been doing these 10 years? Have you been with that woman named Chin Inua all this time? Lin Fan thought for a moment and said, I really did go to Cultivate. I was forced. Then he stretched out his right hand. And in his palm, a wisp of hot flame instantly appeared. This is spiritual fire, burned by spiritual energy. Its core temperature is as high as several thousand degrees. It can be said that it can easily burn 99% of things on Earth. Xiao Yao, actually, this matter of cultivation. I know it's hard for you to accept, but it really exists. I will teach you in the future. 10 years ago, I was taken away by that powerful cultivator. He forced me to cultivate. It was only after he passed away 10 years later that I was able to come back. Honestly, I'm really sorry to you. And to Mom and Dad. Brother, don't say any more. Lin Yunyao suddenly covered her mouth, tears welling up in her eyes. Although the matter of cultivation was indeed shocking, she ultimately chose to believe him. Perhaps to her, whether cultivation was real or not didn't matter. She just needed a reason for her to forgive her brother. That was all. The night was deep. Lin Fan came outside alone, looking at the stars in the sky, his expression wistful. After his sister's mention just now, the woman who haunted his dreams appeared in his mind again. He thought he could let go, but at this moment, he found that he couldn't let go at all. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but take out his new phone and log into his QQ account, which he hadn't used in 10 years. As soon as he logged in, all kinds of messages came in. From old classmates, from old friends, and from Chin Inua. Lin Fan scrolled through the messages. Most of them were sent 10 years ago. Classmates and friends were asking where he had gone. Why they couldn't find him after college graduation. Had he struck it rich and forgotten about his old friends? Chin Inua also sent a lot, asking where he was. Was he still coming to marry her? Lin Fan, if you don't come soon, my dad is going to marry me off to someone else. Lin Fan, don't ignore my messages. I'm scared. The most recent message was from 3 years ago. Lin Fan, I really regret knowing you. Seeing these messages, Lin Fan felt sad. He typed several times, wanting to reply, but in the end, he didn't send anything. So many years have passed. What was the point of replying now? It would only disturb Chin Yunyuo's hard-won peaceful life. After calming himself down, Lin Fan secretly entered Chin Yunyuo's QQ space. In her space, Lin Fan saw some of Chin Yunyuo's photos. Some were of herself, but more were group photos of her with a 5 or 6-year-old girl. This little girl must be Chin Yunyuo's daughter. Under the moonlight, Lin Fan's figure looked very desolate and lonely. Although it was impossible between them, he still decided that after he arranged for his sister's enrollment, he would go to Yunchuan City to find Chin Inua and give her enough money to last a lifetime. This was the only thing he could do. Meanwhile, in front of the destroyed villa, a middle-aged man appeared. What a powerful method! Was this done with explosives? Who dares to touch the people of my Sankatang? Then he took out his phone and made a call. Citadaran, Zheng Tianhu is dead. The villa he was in was destroyed by a bomb. Everyone is probably dead. As soon as he said this, the other end of the line was silent for a long time. Ada. I remember Zheng Tianhu's villa had a hidden camera installed on the banyan tree to the right. Go check if there are any clues. Ada heard this and immediately looked around and found a pinhole camera. He opened the camera recording to watch. In the video, he saw a young man wave his hand, and the entire villa collapsed. Then the young man walked out of the monitoring range. It was indeed blown up by a bomb. Ada's eyes narrowed. He naturally wouldn't believe that a young man could make a villa collapse with a wave of his hand. He only thought that the young man was holding a detonator, and the waving motion was just pressing a button. Find out his identity immediately. I want to see. Who dares to touch my people? Yes, Situdaran. A night passed in a flash. Lin Fan glanced at his still sleeping sister, got up quietly and went to the bathroom. He looked at his decadent and melancholic face in the mirror. After thinking for a moment, he used his finger as a sword to shave off the beard on his face. Then he simply trimmed his hair. Lin Fan was only 32 this year, and because of his cultivation, his appearance was basically the same as it was 10 years ago. He even had a hint of elegant and melancholic temperament. At that moment, footsteps came from behind. Lin Yunya walked over, rubbing her sleepy eyes. When she saw her brother, she instantly woke up. "Brother, you are so handsome. I don't think even the big stars on TV are as handsome as you." Lin Fan couldn't help but roll his eyes. After the siblings finished breakfast, Li Xiaoke drove over in her little pink car. They had discussed it last night. Today, Lin Yunya was going to register at school. So Li Xiaoke came early to pick her up. "Wow, Xiao Yao, you're hiding a hottie all to yourself." Li Xiaoke was stunned when she saw Lin Fan. Her eyes almost turned into heart shapes. Li Xiaoke kept waving her arms. "Brother Lin, you are so handsome. I want to have your babies." About 40 minutes later, the car stopped at the gate of Jinling University. As one of the top 5 key universities in the Daxia Kingdom, the gate of Jinling University was bustling with people and very lively. "Uncle, I'm taking Xiao Yao to find the counselor to register. You can just wander around. After we finish the admission procedures, we'll call you and go to eat together." Li Xiaoke parked the car and said to Lin Fan, "I'll leave Xiao Yao in your care." After watching the two girls leave, Lin Fan also started to wander around Jinling University. 10 years ago, with his excellent grades, he got into Jinling University and spent 4 years here. Now, returning to campus, he couldn't help but feel a lot of emotions. There was a feeling that things had changed and time had passed. Just then, a surprised voice came from behind. "Lin Fan, is that you?" Hearing this, Lin Fan stopped. He turned around and saw a familiar face. Yoon Jingchu, his university classmate. Their relationship could only be described as average. They had even had a conflict over a basketball game back then. But that was all in the past. After 10 years, suddenly seeing an old classmate, Lin Fan felt a bit nostalgic. A smile appeared on his face. "Old classmate. Long time no see. It really is you. I thought I was mistaken." Yoon Jingju walked up with a smile. After so many years, he must be doing very well. His clothes were expensive and luxurious, and on his wrist was a Rolex gold watch, worth hundreds of thousands. He looked like a successful person. "Where have you been making a fortune these 10 years? None of us could contact you." Lin Fan noticed his slightly playful gaze, but didn't pay much attention to it. He smiled and replied, "To be honest, I've had a pretty rough 10 years. I can tell. Otherwise, you wouldn't have lost contact with us." Yoon Jingju gently patted Lin Fan's shoulder. "If you need help, you can tell me. I opened a listed company. I can arrange a cleaning job for you. Earning 5,000 yuan a month to support your family is not a problem at all." "Thank you, but I probably don't need it right now," Lin Fan replied politely. He knew Yoon Jingju was showing off, but he just smiled and let it go. After 10 years, everyone has changed a lot. Now that they met again, it was understandable to compare who was doing better. At that moment, a gentle voice came from not far away. "Lin Jingju, who are you talking to?" Lin Fan looked over and saw a beautiful figure walking over, attracting the attention of many male students. Without a doubt, she was another female business elite. He called out, "Schwanger, come over and see who I ran into." When Lin Jingju saw the woman, his face became even brighter. "Lin Fan, it's you. Zhao Schwanger, it's been 10 years. I hope you've been well." Lin Fan had a smile on his face. This woman was named Zhao Schwanger, and she was also one of his classmates. Back then, Zhao Schwanger was the academic representative of their class. She was also exquisite and beautiful, the dream girl of countless male classmates. But there was a secret that no one knew. That was, Zhao Schwanger used to like him. and had pursued him. But at that time, he was with Chen Inua. So he naturally rejected Zhao Shuang'er, thinking of the youthful days of the past. Lin Fan couldn't help but feel a lot of emotions. My God, where have you been all these years? I thought something had happened to you. Zhao Shuang'er waved her fair little fist and gently punched Lin Fan's chest. Her two shallow dimples were very eye-catching. Back then, Lin Fan was the star of Jinling University. He was recognized as the campus hunk. At that time, she would blush just talking to Lin Fan. Now, time has passed. Looking at his faded clothes, the campus hunk of yesteryear had now fallen to such a state. Zhao Shuang'er was no longer the little girl who was obsessed with handsome guys. After so many years of struggling in the business world, she paid more attention to connections and wealth. But after all, they were old classmates. Zhao Shuang'er did not show any disdain for Lin Fan. If you are unemployed, you can accept Jinka's help. You know it's not easy to find a job these days. There is no need to be proud and suffer. I'll consider it. Lin Fan saw the change in Zhao Shuang'er and sighed slightly in his heart. By the way, why are you two at school today? Lin Fan changed the subject. Isn't the school selecting outstanding alumni? The class teacher contacted me and Shuang'er to represent our class. Yun Jingchu replied with a smile, the pride in his eyes unconcealed. This was indeed something to be proud of. As one of the top 5 key universities in the country, Jinling University has cultivated countless outstanding talents in various industries. To be able to stand out from so many outstanding talents and become an outstanding alumnus is not easy. Lin Fan, our class teacher, is waiting for me and Yun Jingchu. I have to go. We can chat again if we have the chance. Zhao Shuang'er waved her hand and then left. Seeing how miserable Lin Fan was, she had no desire to talk to him anymore. Watching the two of them walk away, Lin Fan shook his head slightly. If his old classmates were still as cheerful as before, he wouldn't mind giving them an opportunity. But if they acted high and mighty, he naturally wouldn't fawn over them. Just then, Lin Fan's phone rang. It was his sister, Ling Yuniao. Brother, my admission procedures are done. Let's go eat. Hearing his sister's gentle voice, Lin Fan smiled. Okay, I'll wait for you at the school gate. Soon, the three of them met at the school gate. The school gate was bustling with people. 2 beautiful girls holding his arm at the same time. This was really enviable. Just in that short while, Lin Fan had already noticed countless murderous gazes. Uncle, you're so biased. Why can Xiaoya hold your arm? But I can't? Li Xiaoka pouted. Because Xiao Yao is my sister. Lin Fan replied seriously. Then I'm your wife. I want to have your babies. As they were joking, they didn't notice that across the street, a woman in her early 30s, though her face was slightly pale, her features were extremely delicate and beautiful. She was holding a little girl's hand, staring blankly at this scene. Mommy, what's wrong? The little girl asked softly. She was about 5 or 6 years old, wearing a worn-out princess dress. But when she spoke, her expression was very dull, and her words were slurred. The little girl's name was Lin Lian. Lian as in unforgettable. It's nothing. Mommy is thinking about what to cook for little Lian tonight. Chen Inua forced a smile. She held a shopping bag in one hand and picked up the little girl with the other, turning to walk away. The moment she turned, silent tears flowed from her eyes. For so many years, she had ignored her parents' advice and traveled thousands of miles from Yunchuan to Jinling with her daughter, always searching, wanting to find the man who was deeply engraved in her mind. Everyone said Lin Fan was missing, perhaps had met with an accident. But as long as she didn't see a body, she wouldn't give up. She never expected that now that she finally saw him, her hopeful heart was completely shattered at this moment. Lin Fan, so you really didn't die. So you've only ever liked 18-year-old girls. At this moment, Chen Inua was heartbroken. She just wanted to get away from the city immediately.